Everybody can see that, I hope.
Yep.
And listening to music in your car. So this question has come up quite a bit, and some of you may have seen this presentation I did earlier in the year for APCUG, a virtual technology conference. This one is an abbreviated version of that, and I actually have replaced all the videos. So why do we need to worry about, well, let's say how far we've come from the AM radio. Remember when you had an AM radio with station push buttons and you thought, wow, I am cool. Well, music in the car has evolved. Yes, the AM radio started it all. And then we had the one that's just shown with that little photograph of station push buttons. FM was added probably in the very early 60s as a new band. The 8-track player came along. Then the cassette player came along. And then, of course, the CD player and ones that allowed multiple discs. We had satellite reception, a wired connection, a flash drive connection, and more recently, Bluetooth connectivity. So this has really, music in the car has evolved. And I would guess many people, most of the music they listen to is in their car. But it's like deja vu all over again. Yogi Berra, that of course is a quote from that famed New York Yankees catcher, one of my idols when I was growing up in the Bronx. And but let's think about it. We can recall when the 8-track tape player disappeared from cars and the cassette player disappeared from cars. So this really is nothing new. Even in my 2018 model vehicle, they no longer offer the simple audio cord connection. They're expecting everybody to use Bluetooth or some other more modern way. Now, why don't the new cars have CD players? At least 2 people approached me in my APCUG role and said, Ray, I bought a new car and it doesn't have a CD player. Well, it's new technology. CD players in cars have been around for more than 25 years. You have to have the physical media with you. The compact disc itself, usually the jewel case, that's not required anymore with newer technology. And music CD sales have been declining, not recently, but for the last 15 plus years. Younger listeners are opting for newer methods to hear their favorite artists and tunes. And so the auto manufacturers, they've gotten smart. While they're providing newer technology, they feel they can eliminate the expense of a CD player, which today has limited appeal. Now, we as consumers have to decide how we want to proceed. And there's going to be a few options here. Option 1 is to convert, or as the term is used, rip the songs from your existing compact disc collection to MP3 files that you would save on your computer. And then once they're on the computer, they can easily be copied to devices that'll allow you to play the music in your car. Option 2, you may say, hey, I don't want to go through all that trouble. In that case, you want to choose a streaming service and play the music in your car from your smartphone via Bluetooth or a wired connection. And is there an option 3? Well, there is. You can use both options. That's what I've done. So when you want to use option 1, convert the existing music files on your CDs to MP3s, there's several CD ripping programs that allow you to do that. And you can download these for Windows computers. Despite its age, believe it or not, my choice continues to be Windows Media Player version 12. It's simple to use, easy to use, and it comes preloaded in Windows 10. Apple users, and as well as Windows users for that matter, still have iTunes, even though it's been officially retired. Now, one of the issues many people with laptops face is the newer laptops don't or no longer have optical drives. In order to make them as thin as they do, they cannot have an optical drive. Well, here's what you can do, though. There's these inexpensive portable units that plug into a USB connection. They're readily available, and they're not, as I said, not that expensive. And this will allow you then to do the ripping of the CDs. So there's many YouTube videos that provide the visual instruction and narration to help you understand the process of ripping a music compact disc to your computer. Just type the words in the search box, rip CD Windows Media Player, and there'll be you'll find many choices. But if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video must be worth a lot more. So let me give you my video. This is going to be ripping a CD using Windows Media Player. Okay, folks, I've opened up the Windows Media Player that's on Windows 10. I've inserted the CD called Evolution by John Carpino, and it's recognized it, comes up, and it shows the names of the tracks or songs, the time involved. All the contributing artists is John Carpino. Here's a CD album that came out in the year 2004. So I'm going to want to rip this to my computer now. So all of these songs are copied to the computer. But before I do that, I need to make some changes in my settings. So over here is the rip settings. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow. And there's a few things I want to look at. The first one is format. And as I hover over that, several choices open up. Now, the first four are all Windows Media type audio formats, and they're okay, but we're not going to use any of those, so we can disregard those. And the last three all have the word lossless as part of their title, and that really means that it's a high-end audio that's not compressed at all. Wave, as an example, that one choice there is typically what the format that's used on professionally made compact discs. We're going to choose, though, the one in the middle, MP3. While it is a compressed format, it's definitely the most versatile and will work in almost every kind of device. So that's what we want to record these and copy these and rip these as MP3s. The next category is audio quality. And this has to do with not only the quality of the sound, but the size of the file. And if you record this at a low kilobytes per second, say 128, that won't take up much room, but the quality won't be as good as if you do it, say, at 320 kilobytes per second, or in this case, the best quality. And I always opt for that, since we're ready making this into an MP3, which is a compressed sound. Let's give it at least the very best possible quality in that regard. If I go down this list, there's a category called Rip CD Automatically, and this could have a check mark next to it. I leave it unchecked. The concept here is sometimes I want to put a CD in my computer and just play it. I don't want to rip it automatically. So I leave that unchecked. The only time I might check it is if, let's say, I had a dozen CDs to do one after the other. I might keep a check there because that makes the process move a little bit quicker. And then the next category is eject CD after ripping. And I might normally put a check mark after that so I can have a visual as to when the process is done by seeing the CD ejected from the computer. But today I'm going to actually uncheck that. I don't want it to eject when we're done with this particular process. So I have all the settings made. I'm now going to click on the words over here, rip CD. And as soon as I click rip CD, it changes to stop rip, because if I wanted to, I could now use that same button for that purpose. But if I look over here, I'll see that all of these songs are pending, and the very first one, it has started the ripping process. So this goes pretty quick. It's already at 30%, and I'm going to let this flow and just let the first song completely rip, and then you'll see it automatically go to the next song. But then I'll pause it and let it finish, so we don't have to actually sit through and watch this whole process. There it is. That's how quickly that first song, 3 minutes and 47 seconds, but it was done in probably about 25 seconds, and it's been ripped to the library. It's automatically started on the second one. So at this point in time, I'm going to go over and I'm going to pause the video and come back when this is all done. Okay, the ripping has completed. All of the tracks say they've been ripped to the library. What does that mean? They've been ripped to the library. Well, with Windows, you have what I call a library, or what they call a library. Some people call it a folder entitled music. And that's automatically where the copies of the songs go. So if I open up the File Explorer and I go into this PC and I click on the music, lo and behold, there's a folder that was already created with the name of the artist, John Carpino. And if I double click on that, it's the name of the album. And if I double click on that, it shows the 10 tracks. Very nice. So I'm going to actually copy this to a flash drive. So with this window open, I'm going to go to File and say Open, or click on Open New Window. And it opens up an exact copy of the window I was using. I'm going to move that over here to the right. But now on this side, I don't want this to appear the same. I want to actually find the flash drive that I've inserted in my computer. So here, if I go down, I can click on the flash drive. Now I already have a folder called John Carpino because I have actually 3 CDs by him, and I've already copied or ripped the other 2 over to this particular flash drive. So I have his albums Come So Far and Like As We Know It. But now I want to add the Evolution that I just ripped. So it's very simple, drag and drop. So I click on Evolution, I drag it over to the flash drive, the folder for John Carpino, and I let go. And now it'll copy over the tracks. It says copying 11, and I believe there was just 10 tracks. Sometimes there's album art or something like that that gets added, and it might show 1 extra item, but it should just be the 10 tracks that we ripped before from the actual CD itself. So you can see this again is a quick process, takes just a matter of seconds. And then the Evolution album is here. If I double click on Evolution, yep, there's the 10 tracks that we had. So they can play on this computer, but what we're going to do is see how this flash drive plays in the car. So let's go do that now, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back in the car, and now we're going to take the flash drive that I brought with me and put it into the USB connector slot. I have 2 in this car. Doesn't really matter which one I use. I put it in one of them, and then I close the console. Now my audio is off, so I'm going to turn my audio on. And I'm going to go to the home key and then audio, and it's already started playing. So I got the volume control here. Now it's not picked out the correct album art, which makes sense. And for some reason, John Carpino's name is coming out ARPIN. I don't know. That's not important. Now the purpose is to show you how this works. So as I said, I can use the controls here on the screen to either advance to the next song or go backwards. Now it's showing a total of 37 songs because I've actually downloaded on this flash drive the 3 CDs that I own. I'm going to now also show you how we can make these changes on the steering wheel. Here is, I can go to the next track just by using the controls on the steering wheel. I'll go back, and the same thing works for volume. And one of the nicest features is when you can actually choose a song based on the verbally asking for it. Play track, I Can't Get Arrested in This Town. And all by itself, just like that, up comes that song and starts to play. So think about as you're driving and you don't want to have to be touching the screen or anything, you can just speak what you want and the system will respond. And if you're driving with a passenger who wants to see what other songs might be available, the passenger can tap the browse button, and then here list all the songs we have in alphabetical order. And so when you get to one you like, the passenger can do, okay, let me hear this song. So lots of nice features by using a flash drive in the car. Okay, so now we want to talk about playing the RIP songs in the car. We've just seen how the flash drive works for the cars equipped with the USB connector, either 1 or 2 of them. Now, this is not really something new. I had a car from 2008 that actually had a flash drive, a USB connector or a flash drive connector. So they've been around for more than 12 years. And as I said in that video, the ability to verbally request the songs and artists, to me, is the best feature, because this allows hands-free usage, thus improving safe driving. And it's very much easier to carry several flash drives than several CD discs. Now, let's go a little bit further in talking about playing song files from a smartphone. And now smartphones with songs saved on external storage. So the Android smartphones allow, many of them do, for the use of a micro SD card to be added. Believe it or not, they can hold as much as 1 terabyte of music. I don't recommend that because most of the systems that read that don't have the ability to really index that much music. How much is that much music that could fit on a 1 terabyte SD card, micro SD card? Well, assuming an average song is 5 megabytes, a 1 terabyte micro SD card could fit approximately 200,000 of your favorite songs. That's over 17,000 hours of music, and that translates to just under 2 years of playing time. No time to sleep, just listening to music for 2 years. So if you're going to copy songs to the micro SD card, I always recommend do it while you can have it directly connected to your computer using an adapter. Since if using a cable connected to the smartphone, that's a much slower process. Now, iPhones do not allow the use of micro SD cards for additional storage. So if music you want to save on your iPhone, you're going to have to use the internal storage. And that might be taking up space that could be needed for other apps and system programs. So in this situation, those committed to the Apple ecosystem, the long-running iPod Touch is still around. Believe it or not, that was updated as recently as 2019, and it's an excellent choice to use for a music playing device. And then just the regular old MP3 players, they were very popular before this feature started appearing in smartphones, but they're still available to use, and they would work in a situation like this as well. So now we have to get the sound from your device to the car's speakers. And there's a few ways it can be done. The first way I'm going to talk about is Bluetooth. And that allows you to pair your device with the car stereo head unit to play the music wirelessly. Now, pairing procedures differ among all the different car manufacturers. So I would just recommend you check YouTube videos to find the one that works with your phone and your car. And if you can't, then this is where your car dealer can help in this regard. The next time you bring it in for service, have them show you what to do. And I'll talk a little bit more about the audio jack cable. And then I'll also talk a little bit more about what's called an FM transmitter. But right now, let's look at Bluetooth from your phone to your car speakers. Okay, we're back in the car, and this time it's going to be a demonstration of how the Bluetooth works when your phone is paired with the head unit in the car. And I've already done that with this phone. And this particular system is called Sync 3, actually allows for the pairing of several phones. So you could have your spouse's phone, you could have your kid's phone, and depending who wants to play the music on a particular drive, we can easily change to whose phone is going to be paired. So now in this case, I have brought up on my Musical.ly app the song by John Carpino called Get This Thing Right, and it's from the Evolution LP, and I'm going to use the button on the screen here to play it. Let me turn up the volume a little bit. So it's coming out, and that's nice, sounding good. But now, imagine I'm driving. I don't want to actually take my hands off the steering wheel. So I can just go to the controls on the steering wheel, and I can change the volume this way, either up or down. And likewise, if I want to go to the next track, it's just click on the seek button. And there's the next track. So again, safe driving, my hands really aren't coming off the steering wheel, and yet I'm controlling what I want to hear out of the car's speakers via Bluetooth from my phone. All right, now we also have option 2 that I mentioned before, and that's where you say, look, I'm not going to bother with ripping of the CDs. I'm going to just go with a streaming service. And most streaming services that we talked about in the past provide 2 choices. There's a free service you tell them the genre you like, but the service plays the songs they want. Or choice two, and to me is the better choice. For about $10 a month, you can choose the songs and artists you want to hear. And the leaders in this field are Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Amazon Prime. And for those of you who are already paying for Amazon Prime, this is an included benefit and could provide just what you're looking for. Now, there is another service Amazon offers that does cost some money, and that's called Amazon Music Unlimited, and that has many, many more song choices. So let's see about using streaming service in your car.
All right, we're going to now use a streaming service. So I have Amazon Prime on my phone. Amazon Prime is free. Temporarily, I've also started a trial version of Amazon Music Unlimited, and that gives you many, many more song choices. So I'm going to tap on my Amazon Music on the phone. Comes up and it looks for the search history. I have John Carpino's name in already, so I'm going to keep it there and tap on that. And on the phone now, it's coming up with several results, and it has John Carpino as the artist. So I'll tap him, his name, and then it's showing the different albums that he has. Some of these I own, but some of them I don't. So if I go to this one here as an example and tap on it, it's going to show me all the different songs he's done. And I'm going to play the first one. I just tap on it. And now, even though it's playing on my phone through Bluetooth, it's coming out through the car speakers. And just like we did before, I can control the volume on the steering wheel. And I can also go to the next track on the phone, the next track on the phone, or come back. So again, all the things that you'd like to do and hear the music from your phone when it's connected via Bluetooth and you have a streaming service, you can hear all the different songs coming out of the head unit in your car. Okay, now we're in a car that does not have Bluetooth, but we still want to be able to utilize our cell phone as an example with the music we have on it to play in the car. So in this case, I use a wired connection. So normally most phones have a speaker jack. Instead of using the plug for headphones, I'm using it to connect it to the auxiliary input jack in this particular car. And I have a little holder here, and I'll talk about that in a second, that puts the phone right within easy reach of my hand as I'm driving. So I have it all connected, and I have my music Olay system set up. I want to hear a particular song, Hey Memphis by John Carpino. I just press the play button. And now again, it's coming out of the car speakers. Control it with the volume control here like I normally would. But I have all my music with me on my phone connected to the car, even without Bluetooth. Now what I've done is also I use this little bit of a holder here, and I'll just take this off for a second. This just clips right into, just hangs right on the CD insert spot. So that way, but it won't move, and I like it because it's within easy reach. Some cars have more vents, and you can use clips like that too, but for this particular vehicle, I think this worked out the best. Put this back, lock it in a little bit, and we're ready to go.
Liked what you heard? Then support this marvelous singer-songwriter by bringing home his music. Available on his website, johncarpino.com.
Okay, and last but not least, how about cars that don't even have an audio input plug or Bluetooth? Well, there's always a solution. It's called an FM transmitter, and it plugs into the DC power slot, or we used to call it the cigarette lighter. And then you can attach an audio cable between that external speaker jack of the transmitter and the device that you're going to be playing. Maybe you're going to have a cell phone, or maybe you want to put a portable CD player in your car and connect it that way. Now, this FM transmitter that I have myself actually will also accept a USB connection and a SD card. So you can have your music stored that way. And then what you do is you configure the FM transmitter to send its audio sound signal to a not in use FM radio station, and then listen to your music on that station on your car's FM radio. So bottom line, music formats will continue to change. One certainty with technology, that it's always evolving. We all need to evolve with it, otherwise get left behind.
It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors, with 5 important tips for your Chromebook in 2021. Now you know the routine. If you like this video, please click the like, and we'd sure appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Thanks so much. Let's get on with the 5 tips for your Chromebook in 2021. Now, Microsoft is getting ready for a big update in their operating system. Now, just imagine what's going to happen. Right in the middle of a presentation, your Windows 10 machine is going to update. Or, worse than that, when you try to update it, it's going to crash your machine. You might lose data. Oh man, it goes on and on and on. And we can just sit back and smile because we have a Chromebook. But you know, the Chromebook does actually update its operating system as well. But it just does it a lot smarter than Microsoft. And it doesn't ever bother you. How does that happen? Well, I think we've talked a little bit about this before, and there actually are 2 copies of your Chrome operating system. Yes, 2 copies, a primary and a secondary copy. And that's why the upgrade always occurs in the secondary copy, so it never bothers you. But here's the problem. If you're like me, you know what we do? Let me just show you here in this little video. If you watch here and watch me close my computer, this is what I do every night before I go to bed. I just close the computer lid like that. The problem with that is your Chromebook just goes to sleep. And you know how it switches from the primary copy to the secondary copy? In other words, it reverses them, so it's going to install the one that is being updated. You have to power off. So when you're just sleeping like this, you're not actually switching the copies, and you're not getting the advantages of the upgrade. Now that's perfectly okay to do. In fact, that's what I do all the time. I'm lazy. I just click the lid shut and put it to sleep. But because I write tech articles all the time, the first thing I need to do is in the morning when I get up and open up my Chromebook, I manually update the operating system to check and make sure that it's what version we're using, because I write articles about it. So I wanted to show you today just how to upgrade the operating system manually if you're lazy like me and you just put your Chromebook to sleep. Now it's also perfectly acceptable if you want to turn it off. If you power it off, then that's not a problem. You just power it on in the morning and the copies will switch. But you have to actually turn it off to have the primary copy switch to the secondary copy. Now, if you just want to put it to sleep like I do, then you can just update it maybe once a week if you're real obsessive, or maybe once a month if you just want to keep updated. So that's perfectly fine to do as well. But I just want to make sure that everyone understands how to manually update the operating system. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. You come to the settings and you come up to the shutdown button and you actually turn the Chromebook off. When you do this, it will reboot when you open the lid, and the secondary copy will now become the primary copy of your operating system, and it will have upgraded itself. Now, since I have this bad habit of closing the lid, I update mine manually. So in this diagram, you'll see I come up to Settings. We then bring the cursor over to the left side and down to the About Chrome OS. We'll click on this. Let's go up and check my version. This is the current version that I am running. I'm going to check for updates, and I see that my Chromebook is up to date. If there was an update to do, it would install it at that time and ask me to reboot my computer. And when I did, it would switch copies. All right, let's look at the new screen or video capture that was introduced as part of the operating system upgrade in version 89. So we have it built right into the operating system where we can record videos, do screen captures, all sorts of really cool things you can do now right in the operating system. You don't even need an app or anything like that. Let me show you how it works. All right, let's look at the new screen recorder. We'll come to the settings menu and come up to the screen capture window here. Click on this and you'll see 5 boxes at the bottom here. The 2 on the left and the 3 on the right, along with the settings menu. The 2 on the left here we'll talk about in a minute. The first one shows click anywhere to record full screen. So anywhere here on the screen you click, you'll be able to record the total screen. The second button shows where you can select part of the screen. Again, you can drag and drop how big you want the area to be recorded. And the third box is a screen capture. So this is what you would click to have a screen capture taken. Now let's go over to the left side now, and you'll see these 2 buttons. The first is a picture of a camera. This is where you would take as image, an image capture, and the second is the button you would place to do the recording. And again, if you come over to the settings menu, you'll see this is where you can turn your microphone on or off. So if you don't want to be speaking, you can just leave it off. That's the new screen recorder for the Chrome operating system. All right, now you've recorded your video. Where is it? And how do you play it? And so the capture is done and it's saved in your downloads directory on your Chromebook. And in your downloads directory, you'll find it as a file format as WebM. Now that may be a little unusual for you, and you may not understand what WebM is because you're mostly understand about MP4 files. And WebM has been around for quite a while now, and it's based on a little bit different compression. The size of both the WebM and MP4 files are about the same, and they have relatively similar compression. How do you play these? Well, a very popular video playing app called VLC, which is free, is available as an app for your Chromebook. And I would suggest you download VLC. It's found at the Play Store, and that's an easy thing to do. And then you can just play your video captures back. You can play them back using the WebM format. However, if you want to convert them to an MP4, that's very easy to do, and VLC will save them as an MP4 file. This may be important if you're planning to do some video editing on them. For example, Camtasia doesn't import a WebM format. So you'd have to convert it to MP4, which is done easily done in the VLC software. So that is the new feature that we have that is available in our Chrome operating system. Now, how to change your download folder on your Chromebook. There are a number of reasons why you might want to consider this. First, you might have limited space on your hard drive in your Chromebook, and as you download more and more stuff, it can fill it up. So you can change the download directory to be either an SD card that you placed in your Chromebook or an external drive, or in fact you could even store it on your Google Drive in the cloud. So you have lots of options, but by default your download folder will be stored on the hard drive in your Chromebook. Now, the second reason that you might want to consider this is if you decide to power wash your Chromebook. This is where it resets it to factory specifications. Again, if you have all your files stored in your download directory, this will this will wipe them out. So it's really important that if you do decide to change your directory, if you have it on an SD card or you put it in Google Drive, those are safe places if you're going to power wash. And again, Google Drive is available on all devices. Now, the other reason I wanted to bring this up today is because how you do this has changed from my last video I made about a year ago. They've changed the location of the option to change your download directory. And you no longer find it in the Chromebook settings. In other words, when you go to the bottom right-hand side of your Chromebook, you come to settings, and then you come in, and you used to change it in the menu system there. Well, that doesn't work anymore, and if you try to do it, you won't find it. So what you have to do is you have to open the Chrome browser, and then you go to the three-dot menu in the top right-hand corner and open it up that way. Let me show you how it works, okay?
Let's have a look at the new way of changing your downloads directory. First, we'll come to the Chrome browser, not in settings, but we're going to come to the Chrome browser and come up to the top into the three-dot menu in the Chrome browser. From there, we're going to come down and click on the settings in the Chrome browser. Then we're going to come over to the left side and we're going to come up to the advanced setting, click advanced, and now you'll see downloads. And when you click on the downloads button, you'll see here is the location to change. And when we click this, you'll see it brings up the folder now, and you'll be able to choose where you want to save your downloads folder. It could be on a Google Drive, then it would be stored in the cloud, or it could be an external drive or an SD drive.
Now, a few weeks ago, a reader asked me if they shared a Chromebook within a family, would they need to power watch it between users? And I said, no, I mean that you could do that, but that's probably not the best way. You see, Chromebooks are very account specific. So the first person that logs on to a Chromebook is usually the owner or administrator, and they can determine whether you have guests or new users. And if you enable those features in your menu that I've shown you, you'll be able to come on as a new user or a guest. And in those situations, new accounts are created for those individuals. And none of your data is shared. So for example, if you created a new user, this would be a totally independent set of data. And when you remove that new user, none of your data would be affected. So it's a way in which you can actually have two people who are users of a Chromebook that are completely, their data is completely encrypted and completely separate. So that is how you would have multiple people using the same Chromebook. Remember, this is Chromebook's 10th anniversary this year. And they added something for us in the launcher. This is called the Chromebook Tote. Let's have a look and see what this is.
All right, let me show you how the tote works. So as we come onto the shelf here, you'll see as we zoom down, you'll see on the shelf a new feature, and this is called the tote. If you hover over there, you'll see it says T-O-T-E. And when you bring up the menu, it will show you pin files or screen captures. So let's do a screen capture. We're going to come over to the right side and we're going to open the screen capture menu. We'll click on this and we're now going to take a screen capture. So we're going to select an area to do the screen capture, and now we're going to capture it by clicking on the capture button. And now we should be able to see that back in the tote area. and there's our screen capture in the tote area. It's like a holding area for your work. Now as we move over, let's look at the file. So we're going to go to Files, and let's have a look at the file that we just created, and we're going to pin it to the shelf. So when we click on this, we're now going to come back to the tote area, and you'll see again there it is. It's pinned to the tote area. So this is an area that holds screen captures and pinned files. It's called the tote.
So the 5 important tips for your Chromebook in 2021. In this video, I've showed you how to manually update your operating system, how to use the new screen and video capture, how to change your download directory, how to share a Chromebook using multiple user accounts, and the new Chromebook tote feature. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Have a great day.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Microsoft File Explorer, copy or move. I'm Hewie Poplock. We're going to be talking about copying or moving a file from one folder to another today. Your computer is made up of brains and file cabinets. Your brains are the memory or the CPU. The file cabinet can be your hard drive, it can be thumb drives, it could be a memory card, it can be an SSD drive or solid state drive. All of those are file cabinets. File cabinets, and inside of each drawer are hanging folders. Inside the hanging folders, you put manila folders inside of them. And then inside of the manila folders are pieces of paper, are articles, are documents, and so on. And then you can have manila folders within manila folders, or subfolders and subfolders. In an organized drawer, it would look something like this. So you can organize your computer files the same way. This is Windows 7, I believe, from an earlier capture that I did. This is Windows 11 on my current computer. On my computer, at the bottom in my taskbar is something called This PC and File Explorer. Both of them get you basically to the same place. This PC is just like one level higher than File Explorer. The older versions of Windows would look like this. It was called Windows Explorer then, but now it's called File Explorer. It looked like this, but it hasn't changed a whole bunch. And if you opened up the whole computer, it would look like this. In Windows 11, this is what it looks like with the ribbon at the top. Of course, ribbon at the top was introduced in 10, so you did see that in 10. Let's take a look at Windows 11 because that's the computer that I work with, and it's easier for me to make screenshots to show you. When we open up this PC, this is what it looks like on my computer. Now remember, there are a lot of ways in which you can show the information in File Explorer, and to show you all the different ways in which we can do that will be another tip. Right now we're just talking about copying and moving a file from one folder to another. And this is the file in a particular folder that I want to copy to another folder. And this is the folder I want to copy it to. It's empty. There are different ways in which you can do this. Back in the earlier days of Windows, I used a program called Norton Commander or Xtree, and it would have two instances of the files or two instances of the file manager, and you would be able to just click and drag it or move it from one to the other. And that's the way I got used to doing it, and I could still do it that way. And the way I would do it would be to hover over the bar at the top right and choose the side-by-side. In Windows 10, you can just snap it to the sides. So I snapped it to the side, so I've got two half screens, one with the view that we're doing, and then I can put whatever I want in the other. So I put a second Windows File Explorer, and then I could just either drag it or copy it from one to the other. But that's really a more difficult way to do it. Another way to do it would be to right mouse click the file that you want. When you do, you'll get this menu, and at the bottom it says Show More Options. When you show more options, you get this. One of the things you could do is you could copy the file, go to the folder that you want to put it in, and paste it. That's not one I do recommend, but it can be done. What I do is, if I left mouse click and dragged it to the folder that I want on the left side and let the mouse key go, it would drop in there automatically. If I right mouse click and then dragged it, it would work differently. When I click on the right mouse button and then let go when I've moved it over the folder that I want, I get a menu. I recommend doing it this way with the right mouse button, because if you drop it in the wrong place, you don't know where it is. This way you have, number one, you can see where it's going, and two, you can also decide what you want to do. Do you want to copy it here? Do you want to move it here? Or just create a shortcut? Now notice that the move here is bold. That means the default is move here. So if I used the left mouse button and dropped it there, it would move it. So what moving is, it's copying it and then deleting it from the other place. So I could copy it or move it. And when I right mouse click, I have a choice to what I want to do, and I can also cancel it. So if it's not the right place, I can cancel out of what I'm doing. So that's why I recommend using the right mouse button. Now, the reason it's highlighted is because that's the default. Now, what makes it the default? If you're moving it from one folder to another on the same drive, it'll default to move. If you're copying it from one drive to another drive, the default will be copy. So when I move it, it is now in the new folder, which was empty. It's that easy. Microsoft File Explorer. Copy or move. I'm Hewie Poplock.